and of course reliving the rivalry with Australia from season 3.
Yeah, I think we always have a good rivalry with Tom down there, but no, it's going to be incredibly tight. I think in Chicago, even on that first day, we saw with one extra boat on the start line how quick people can shift around the leaderboard. So it's all about making sure you get through to the finals and give yourself a shot.
We talked a little bit about the conditions on day 2 and some controversial rowing using the boards to keep the boat moving. This has now been outlawed. Do you think that was the right decision?
Yeah, well, I think more the question is whether we should have been racing in that lighter conditions. Everyone's been using their boards to move the boats forward at certain times for a very long time in this league. But that's the first day we've actually tried to race in such light conditions. And personally, looking back at it, it was not the most exhilarating watch. But we've just got to race in what we're told, and it was something that we're pretty happy to make the most of it.
Talk to us about Eric's debut effort in Chicago.
Yeah, it was awesome to see another team on the start line, and I think that changes everything for everyone across the field. But to see them get around the racetrack in great shape on that first day, and what was nice conditions on the LAB setup is something that I think they'll be in the middle of the pack pretty soon, and it's just exciting to see the level of SailGP continuing to grow.
Thanks, Pete. Well, Tom, we talked a little bit about the rivalry. Although you didn't get the win, you must have been pleased to once again be near the top to start season 4. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we're really happy. We had a great first day, and then day 2 was very tough conditions. We knew that one of the top teams will probably have a bad event, because in those sorts of conditions, like, someone's going to come unstuck, and our whole goal was to sort of get through that day unscathed, and we feel like we had a really good day to come second place. We're off to a great start in the season, and we just didn't want to have a bad result and anything good to happen that second day, so we're really happy.
So how did you navigate those conditions, and do you think it was the right choice to actually have the event?
To me, no, I don't think we should have raced in those conditions. We're dealing with a sport we're dealing with Mother Nature, and it is unfortunate sometimes that we can't race, but that's the way it is. And for me, I like to think of SailGP's brand as fun, exciting, fast racing, foiling. And I don't know, I'm no expert, I'm not the person to ask for this, but my idea is that when people tune into SailGP, that's what they should expect. And racing in those conditions, to me, might not do our brand that much good, but I respect it, and whatever the powers that be make the decision, we'll follow.
So what will be the important factors on this race course here in Los Angeles?
This racetrack, it looks very tight out there. It's beautiful conditions. I think the forecast is for nice sea breezes every day and 15, 18 knots. We got out for a short sail yesterday afternoon and loved it. Flat water, warm conditions. It's going to be a very tight racetrack. We haven't sailed on the racetrack here, but just looking at it this morning, it looks tight. So not sure what to expect. It reminds me a bit of the Dubai race course, really tight. And if you have a bad start, it's hard to make overtaking lanes because there's just not that much room. But we're expecting a really tight racetrack, and really starts will be crucial.
Let's talk about performance a bit. You've sailed with Jimmy Spithill before. What do you see going on with the performance of the U.S. team?
I've been fortunate enough to sail with Jimmy in the past, and I've openly said it. Jimmy's probably one of the best team members, if not the best team member I've ever sailed with. He's a true leader, and when you and it really shows when your back's against the wall and the team are against the odds, and he was a real leader in all those scenarios, and I've taken a lot from him in bringing it to the Australian team, what we can learn. And look, everyone goes through highs and lows, teams go through highs and lows. I'm not sure what's going to happen over there, but changes probably need to happen, and it'll be interesting to see what goes on. But I'll never doubt Jimmy's talent and skill, and he's taught me so much in my sailing career, and it's just an honour to share the racetrack with him, and hopefully it continues.
So Jimmy, with that, another home event here, and the spotlight's really on you and USA, SailGP team. Talk to us about what this event means to you and the team.
Well, firstly, to Tom, as a fellow redhead, thanks for backing me up, mate. I mean, that's good to see that still stands between us gingers. But yeah, look, I mean, we're excited to be here in LA. It's an incredible venue. It's one that we've been pushing SailGP to come to LA. as the guys that got out in the water yesterday, I mean, flat water, great breeze, it's going to be fantastic, and I think the fans are in for a real show.
Well, you do need to get better results in this event, as we've talked about. What are the main things that you're going to focus on to turn those results around?
Well, I think it's consistency. You know, I mean, the great thing with SailGP is that, and sport, I guess, is that it's brutally honest. You know, your results will do the talking and your performance. And we see that here. I mean, mistakes on the water, technical issues, even just a tough call from an umpire, that can really make a huge difference as to whether you finish on the top of the ladder and the bottom. And then let's not forget you're going against the very best in the world in the same equipment. So yeah, look, the results do the talking. We're really going to focus on consistency, clean races, trying to avoid any boat handling mistakes, and yeah, just enjoy the day.
Do you think this has anything to do with the young crew that you may have?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, if you look across the fleet, I think there's a real blend of some awesome younger talent that's starting to come through, and then there's some experience throughout the mix as well. And it just shows. I mean, look, if you look at the Aussie team, Tom and his team, completely dominated this whole series since its inception. No one else has held that trophy. But even for them, if they've had past events where they've had a technical issue or maybe made some mistakes, they've finished on the bottom of the table at more than one event. So that just shows how tough the competition is, and that no team is immune to having a few issues here or there.
Well, with that, the Germans were impressive after such little time in the boat. Was that a bit of a wake-up call for the U.S. team?
I don't think so. I mean, I think every one of us, I mean, you know, Eric's a real talent that's come up through, let's say, more of the Olympic class stuff. He's got a good blend of guys that have competed in SailGP before. So I wasn't surprised at all to see him up there mixing it up. And with more time and with more hours, I only expect them to start moving up towards the top of the table. But, I mean, for SailGP, it's probably a real tick for them, because in most racing sports, for a new team to come in and have the ability to be competitive is very rare. Usually takes years and years because of the technical advantage. But that's what's great about the open data and sharing, is that a new team can do a lot of homework before they come in, see what teams like the Aussies and the Kiwis are doing, and use that immediately. And that's, I think, a huge tick for what SailGP is doing.
Well, switching gears now to a positive side as well. First event here in LA, new race stadia for SailGP, and something the fans haven't seen before that will be attending. What can they expect here at the Port of Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if any of them have come down and looked out here and probably seen the speed of a container ship or a tugboat going in and out, it's going to be quite different. And I mean, it's much more like auto racing. I know there have been some big auto racing events held around the Long Beach and LA area, and I'd say it's very, very similar. So fast races, lots of action, and this could be, I'm not sure if it is, but maybe the tightest racetrack we've ever raced on.
Wow. Thank you, Jimmy. All right, Phil, over to you. Given the recent adversity, it must have felt pretty special to notch up that result in Chicago. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's obviously a good way to start the season. We did that when we joined the series as well. We started pretty hot, but we lost our way a bit. So I think the team's got a pretty big focus on making sure we're consistently near the top and growing and developing as a squad as well. So we're in a good space, but yeah, we know we've got a lot to learn to sort of get to where the bar is at the moment.
Well, if the team can successfully negotiate this uncertain period, do you feel you can certainly and seriously challenge for the title?
Yeah, I do. I really believe this team's got the goods to be in that final come San Fran next year. We do have a lot to learn. You can't underestimate how good all these teams are, and as the others said, you know, you can be a hero at one event and you can be dead donkey last in the next, and that's what we're trying not to do. It's about consistency. It's a long season and it's just the start, so there's plenty of racing ahead.
Any update on the future of the team in the league?
Yeah, there's a little bit of an update. It's obviously we're kind of free agents at the moment, I guess you could say. We're up for sale, and thankfully SailGP has kept the team floating in between this sort of uncertain period. And basically the update is the team's had a bid accepted, so yeah, that's just into finalising all the paperwork, and hopefully we'll have a new ownership group and be on our way again, and that'll be a good place to be. We can get rid of all those unnecessary distractions.
And more exciting news, the next time the league comes to North America in 2024, one of the stops will be a home event for your team. How important is it to get a home event for the Canada team?
Huge. From the start of this team, sailing in Canada has changed completely. This team's been sort of the catalyst for the new generation of sailors, and now we're seeing so much foiling activity going on in Canada. So it's incredible. To get an event there is going to be even bigger and better. So we're pumped. We can't wait to race at home. We've already got a huge fan base, and to put an event on for them in Canada is going to be something pretty special.
Thank you, Phil. Well, good luck the rest of the way. And Eric, we'll head over to you. Of course, congratulations on the league debut. Now that time has passed, how do you reflect on that first SailGP event?
Yeah, I mean, we were super happy with our first day in Chicago, and also happy to see that we are not way behind the fleet, and yeah, super happy in general about the event.
And are you expecting to finish higher in this event?
I mean, for us this year with the small race course is another level of difficulty. Plus, we were training now in a different constellation for a couple of days, so we have still no number goals. We have still goals of just keeping the progress as fast as we can.
Well, Tom Slingsby said he respected the fact that you were disappointed with the result. Were you really that disappointed with the result?
Yeah, I mean, after a couple of weeks, not anymore, but for a sailor, the last race always, the regatta feels always like the last race, a little bit at least, and that race doesn't feel good.
Is it in the interest of the team in building in Germany? Are you excited? Are they excited? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I think the interest is pretty big. The media is happy, and even if we would get probably another German event in season 5, that will build that as well.
So a special guest joining you today. Talk to us about today's guest.
Yeah, Sebastian was arriving yesterday evening, and he's super excited to join us today on the boat. We are too, and happy to have him here.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We are going to go ahead and open up the floor to any questions from the media for our drivers. Anyone?
Bernie Wilson with Associated Press. For Jimmy, how much pressure is there on you guys for a home event, and there's 4 of them this season, and how much would a good performance help raise SailGP's stature, image, whatever, in the States?
Yeah, I think it's really important. You know, it's kind of, it's not funny, but it's kind of ironic that we've struggled to get a decent result on the tour at US events. You know, the events that we've won or where we've been in the grand finals have all been outside of the US. Now, we've seen that there's a huge following here, huge fan base. You know, the numbers don't lie, and clearly I think that's why SailGP has added more US events. So 100%, you know, I mean, every event you go into, you want to win and you want to be up on that final race on Sunday, but there's definitely added motivation that coming into a home event to perform well for that very reason.
William Reed, Live Sail Die. Phil, you're now in season 4. How's your understanding of the boat's potential changed over the seasons?
One more time, sorry?
You're now in season 4. How has your understanding of the boat's potential changed over the seasons?
Yeah, I've been around a while, I guess, since the start of the series, but definitely don't have as much experience as the guys sitting next to me in these boats. Maybe a little more than Eric, but they're wicked. You know, we've sailed, all of us, a lot of different foiling boats, and I can probably hands down say the F50 is probably one of the most difficult boats to sail at this size and this speed, and that just makes for great racing. People were making mistakes easily, and it's a difficult boat to sail. You need all 6 people on board to actually get this thing around the racetrack in good shape. So, but it's cool. There's lots of developments all the time. We're going to be testing some new rudders after this event, and yeah, the boat's continually being developed to make it go faster and probably more harder to sail.
All right, we'll go ahead and take some online questions. This one's from Peter Davila for Pete. What are the ideal wind conditions for the F50?
Well, definitely a little more than we had at last weekend in Chicago, but it's, I think looking pretty idyllic here, to be honest. Personally really love the flat water where you can push the boat super hard, and that upper end of the wind strength. As a league, we don't spend a whole heap of time sailing on the high-speed configuration, which we have in today, and it'll be interesting to see if its forecasters have got it windy enough for that come Saturday, Sunday.
Thanks, Pete. All right, well, Eric, this one comes to you from Jaden Morris. How do you cope with nerves?
To cope with what?
With your nerves, or being nervous?
Yeah, in general, I'm on the boat pretty relaxed, more relaxed than here.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and, of course, kicking off this weekend. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Thank you for your time. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll bring on our second group of drivers. So stay in your seats, and we'll be right back. Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix at the Port of Los Angeles. And of course, it's time for our next group of drivers. Please welcome, fourth place in season 3, it's Kenton Delapierre of France. Our reigning Impact League champion, Nikolai Seested of the Rockwool, Denmark SailGP team. And season 3 grand finalist, Ben Ainsley of the Emirates Great Britain SailGP team. Winner of the final fleet race at Navy Pier, it's Sebastian Schneider of the Switzerland SailGP team. And also a race winner in Chicago, it's Diego Botín of Spain. Thank you so much for being here with us, of course. Sir Ben Ainsley, we will go ahead and start with you. Ben, you said that Chicago was not something we'll want to remember that much. What would you say went wrong with the team?
Well, we just didn't sail very well, which is a big part of the problem if you're up against the best sailors in the world in these tight races. So, yeah, it was a frustrating event for us for a number of different reasons, but that's going to happen in this circuit. A long way to go, long season ahead of us, lots of events. So we just got to rebuild from that and try and iron out those mistakes and get the performance where we want it to be.
You said poor starting and errors at critical times. How do you improve those elements?
Well, like any other sport, it's about obviously practice and trying to identify if you're making mistakes, why that might be. Coaches play a big part in that.
the Oracle Cloud plays a big part in that in terms of us able to understand what some of the teams might be doing a better job, why that might be. So yeah, analysis and of course getting out on the day and putting it together. But we've got a fantastic team. We've got a huge amount of talent across the board. We've got a great coach in Rob Wilson. So we've just got to stick to our processes, focus hard, and go out and try and execute when it counts.
Let's talk about some of the rule changes. You were pretty outspoken about the use of the foils in Chicago on the light wind day to row the boats. Was that the right decision to change the rules on this, considering those conditions?
Yeah, definitely the right decision. I mean, I don't really think it's that big a deal, to be honest. I mean, it was pretty clear to everyone that it wasn't really sailing as we know it, and neither any of the teams, as I understand it, or the spectators, or the umpires race committee thought that was the right way to be sailing the boat. So it's just a common sense decision to make that change and move on.
Well, yesterday, talking about your team, we saw Hannah Mills driving. Will she become your future driver?
Yeah, good question. Hannah is the most successful Olympic sailor in history. She's a huge talent. It's great to see more and more women coming onto these boats. As the league progresses, we expect to see them taking on more and more of these key roles. Whether she ends up steering our boat or not remains to be seen, but she's getting some good practice time out in the water. Yesterday she was out steering our boat, doing a great job, so we'll see how that develops.
Thank you, Ben. Kenton, over to you. Did it feel like you lost a bit of the good momentum that you built up in season 3 at last month's event?
Yeah, you're right. It's been a while since we didn't make the final, but I'm pretty confident that we can make it here in Los Angeles. It's pretty long seasons coming on, and I think, yeah, we'll see, but I think the strategy inside the team is pretty clear for everyone, and I trust my team, so we'll see.
So we saw uncharacteristic results for the team from 3rd to 9th places. Why do you think this was? What happened? Walk us through that.
At the beginning of season 4, we decided to push some developments on technical skills, and without training time, the risk is that you can do big mistakes on the racing weekend, and that's simply what happened in Chicago. So I'm pretty sure that's the way we have to push forward, because if we want to win SailGP one day, we have to just catch the Aussies, the Kiwis, or the Brits in the technical side. So yeah, that was the case in Chicago.
Do you still see yourselves as a title contender in season 4?
I don't think it's the right timing to speak about contenders or being in the super final. As I said, it's the largest season we ever met in SailGP, and there are a lot of things going on.
Well, the next event is your home event. You missed out on the final last year. How important is it to your fans and the sponsors to be in that final in Saint-Tropez? Will we see the home team win?
Yeah, it's really important. Last year we were quite frustrating to finish fourth, just next to the final. And I'm pretty sure that we can convert the offshore sailing French audience to the SailGP show. And it would be great to win our home event. I think it's the best idea to do it.
Best of luck along the way. All right, Nikolai, we'll go over to you. How do you reflect on the team's start to the season, and what grade do you give your team?
Oh, I think, to be honest, the last day in Chicago, as many said, was a bit of a lottery, so we're pretty happy to get away with a 4th place, despite finishing last in one of the races on the Sunday. The team is doing well. Obviously, we have a lot to learn as most teams, and the level is really, really high, as everyone talked about so far. So we need to keep improving, and we're also taking a bit more risk this season in terms of trying new things and catching up. I mean, our ambition is to be in the final in San Francisco, and you need to take risk, and you need to push the learning to get to that.
Well, your team seems very close off the water, rollerblading, playing other sports together. How does that impact your on-water experience?
To be honest, I haven't been on a rollerblades for 20 years, so I think that's our media team doing things that I'm not aware of. But no, we are good friends, and we are as a tight group, and we spend a lot of time together. I think that's the benefit we have. I mean, most of this group now is sailing the AC40 between the SailGP, and we don't have that luxury, so we need to come up with different ways of doing it, and that's spending time together in different smaller boats and just being as a tight core group, knowing each other well, and yeah, maybe we take up rollerblading if that's what it takes.
I was going to say, would you suggest they stay away from rollerblading so they don't hurt themselves and get out there on the water?
I think you need Venice Beach to pull off a pair of rollerblades, so we can't quite do that in Denmark.
Absolutely. Well, commercially, it's safe to say that your team has never been stronger, and some exciting news today around the Italy Sail Grand Prix. It sounds like this will become your home event. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, we're super excited about the Rockwool Grand Prix in Italy, and yeah, we're massively grateful for the support of Rockwool, and we're only here because of Rockwool, so we owe them everything. Not just, we're not just. It's not just a sponsorship; it's a culture. It's a product of Rockwool that we are as a group, and yeah, it's really exciting to see that they keep pushing us and also keep getting more invested in SailGP, and we look forward to Italy. Last time we were in Toronto, there was big crowds and lots of spectators, and that was even with the pandemic. So I'm excited to see what's going to come this time, and hopefully all the Italians will get behind us since we're one of the closest teams to Italy.
Well, as current title holders, what did you make of the recent relaunch of the Impact League and the new judges, the All-Star judges, and the added pressure with more eyes and sports on the Impact League portion?
Oh, I think it's very exciting and very, very cool. Obviously, the new Impact League is more about the big stuff and the big projects, where last year was a lot about getting the small things right. But I think all teams are getting the small things right, and doing that now is just an everyday process for everyone. So I think it's cool to see that it's a bit more about the big projects, and it's very exciting to see how it's going to play out for us. I think, again, if a media team is investing the same amount in the big projects as they're doing the rollerblading videos, then I think we're going to have a good shot.
Thanks, Nikolai. Absolutely. Get those rollerblades ready. All right, Sebastian, we'll go over to you. Of course, congratulations to start. You arrive here from the Paris Olympic test event with a bronze medal in your pocket. How does that feel?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it feels good. Combining the SailGP campaign and the Olympic campaign is quite full on. It's a lot of days on the water, but can't complain. Sailing is just what I like to do, and yeah, it's nice to see that the learnings I get from SailGP, I can apply them to the 49er, and what I learn in the 49er also helped me to stay sharp for SailGP. So yeah, it's good to see some positive signs and see that the hard work starts to pay.
You also carry some pretty good momentum into this event with that win in Chicago. Is this a turning point for the team?
Yeah, hopefully. Well, we all know that second day in Chicago was a bit special, but a race win is a race win. And yeah, I think in sports, momentum can do a lot of things, and we're going to try to carry it as long as we can.
And what is the main difference from this time to a year ago?
Well, I think, first of all, we're a bit more of a Swiss team, which I think is, for me, is really important. And a lot more experience on the boat. I think we understand the boats a lot better. Having people like Nathan or Glenn helping us so much to understand the mechanics or the physics of the boats really, make us better sailors and solve the problem a lot quicker when something's not going right. But I think we understand a lot better what we have to do to improve, and I think, we're understanding a lot better what needs to be done.
And would you say Spain is still your main rivals out there from last season, or is it now Germany? And who do you look for or want to beat?
Yeah, I think our main opponents out there is ourselves first. We have to focus on us and try to sail the best version of our team. And I think once we do that, the rest is going to take care of itself. And if we can perform at our best, then we'll beat more than just one team.
Thank you, Sebastian. All right, Diego, over to you. You haven't had the easiest time as the team's new driver. How much did that race win mean to you and the team in Chicago?
Yeah, it's true that it hasn't been the easiest times for me stepping into the driver's position. It was in a time where the team was hitting a low, and yeah, we've been working super hard to turn this, and we keep on the same line, because that race win, it's very good for us, but it doesn't change anything. We just keep our heads down and keep working.
And obviously, a better performance will also help the team commercially. How much is that on your mind as a driver and the team's performance?
Yeah, obviously performance and commercial success go hand by hand, no? They both help each other, and yeah, my position in the team has a big impact on performance, and yeah, that makes it a big pressure position, and yeah, I think I'm quite used to those pressure situations, and I enjoy them. And it's also way easier when you have such a nice team pushing with you all together. I think we have amazing individuals on the team, and it's going to be a matter of time that, we manage to put all together and climb up on the standings.
Well, we head to Europe after this, and Cadiz is not far away. Speak to us about the build-up to that incredible spectacle that saw record crowds and economic impact.
Yeah, Cádiz is a super nice event for us. It's the most special one. I think the city and the crowds push so much. There is the Marea Roja, that we like to call it, cheering for us all the time. And I think the city in general makes that event one of the most successful and special of the season. So we are really looking forward to it, and we'll be getting as ready as possible to perform there.
Great, great. Well, we'll go ahead and open up the floor to some questions from the media. Anyone for our drivers? Go ahead.
William Reed, Live Sail Die. Ben, what's your advice to new sailors who are learning to make quicker decisions on the course while foiling?
Wow, great question. I mean, foiling has been amazing, the inception of it into competitive racing in the last 10 years or so, and we saw that back in 2013, and it's really transformed the sport. But like you say, it requires much faster decision making. It's kind of good that that's a younger audience or younger sailors that are coming in, and we see that in the WASP class with the Inspire program, and then those sailors going through perhaps to the Moth class, which is really the highest level single-handed foiling boats. And they're incredible talents, and they are having to make very fast decisions. So they're growing up with that. I guess some of the older generation of sailors, people like myself, I'd put in that bracket, come from sailing boats around at 10 knots of speed to suddenly sailing at 100 kilometers an hour. That's been a big transition to learn to develop that. So we use the technology, we use the tactical apps on the boats a lot to help us know where we are on the race course, know where the competition are, so hopefully we don't run into anyone. It's sometimes more of a challenge than you think. And of course keep the boat up on its foils. So that takes a huge amount of team element in these boats, 6 people on the boat. So I would say the biggest thing is time on the water, of course. Get your boat handling absolutely nailed, especially in high pressure situations where you're not expecting to have to make a maneuver and suddenly you do. If you have the best boat handling in the fleet, then you can pretty much react to anything else. So that would be my advice.
Karen Lyle from Sailsport Talk, and as you know, this is a question for actually Ben and Canton. And such a pleasure to be here. We represent 168 countries, so everybody's interested in our fans are listeners, and they are also mainstream sports fans, so they're not specifically sailors. So my question is addressing, you're describing, an answer that they can hear. So Ben, first with you, we had talked in San Francisco about the conditions of the changes of the currents and tides and how that plays a role in strategy and predicting where the wind might be. How is the field here, basically, in the outer harbor of San Pedro, as far as what its particular challenges are, or things that you might be able to use in strategy for the race?
Yeah, another great question. I mean, quite a different venue here in LA to San Francisco. San Francisco, much stronger currents that we're dealing with, like you said, which is a bit of a moving carpet. If you think of the current as a moving carpet and the boat's being pushed along by that carpet, and the wind then changes depending on which way that carpet's running. But here, not so much current, much flatter water as well, because we're protected by the breakwater. So in terms of getting closer to the optimum performance of the boats, we'll most likely do that, achieve that better here with the flatter waters. But it's a tighter race course, much tighter race course, so it's going to require a lot more manoeuvring. To a previous question, you'd expect to see much more dynamic manoeuvring from the boats here on this tight course that you perhaps wouldn't see on other race courses, so that's really going to test the teams to the maximum on that. Lots of unexpected manoeuvres, no doubt. And that will be the biggest challenge, I think, on this race course. Also, there are a few buildings around, so perhaps wind's a little bit shiftier on certain sides of the course. So I think it'll be a very dynamic race course, I think, compared with San Francisco.
Thank you. And Kenton, when we last talked, it was your first time out there as in your role, and now you've had some stunning accomplishments over the last season, and of course some challenges as well. What do you anticipate here in the San Pedro Harbor? I don't think you've competed here before, of course. This is a first for you.
Sorry, you challenged my English. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Okay, so what is your what are you anticipating here in San Pedro as far as what your challenges might be for this particular course and venue?
Yeah, like I said, in Chicago we did big mistakes, but I'm quite confident because it's easier to solve big mistakes than a lot of small details. We just have to sail the race course in a proper way. We did it pretty well last season, and we hold those technical development, we missed that in Chicago, and we just have to recover this consistency and try to take good starts and anticipate every situation with proper maneuvers.
And Seb, a question from online for you from Matthew Diaz. What will be the most important race for you this season?
Yeah, I think all the races will be super important for us. Don't have one in mind. You know, we don't have our home event yet, but hopefully next season we can have it. But you know, every Grand Prix is special, and you gotta perform as best as you can.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Best of luck the rest of the way, and welcome to an exciting weekend here in Los Angeles. And everyone here, just a reminder that racing will get underway this Saturday and Sunday, just after 4 p.m. local time. Tickets are almost sold out on shore, so if you want to watch the racing, book now at sailgp.com/Los Angeles. And for the fans in the United States, the racing will be on CBS Sports Network and stream live on YouTube all weekend. Head to sailgp.com/watch for details on how to see the action around the world. Good luck to all of our teams, and thank you so much.